Evening, Coach. Thoughts on the friendly here tonight, and what was it like here having Dortmund in town the last few days and preparing for this friendly?
There was a lot of German fans that came out. Obviously, it's easy to see a yellow jersey. You know, when we were walking around Seattle U when they had their evening training session, there was a lot of Sounder fans that got some promotion. It was really well done, and the guys from Dortmund were very accommodating, letting fans watch their training session. You know, I got a chance to talk to their coach, Lucian. He's a very nice guy. Obviously, the game tonight, you can just quality. I thought, Raul's header was good quality from us in the first half, but then, the guy gets the one chance and he buries it. And then the second half when, you look at Alex has a chance there, maybe puts it near post. They score right after that. Ocampo did really well. I thought he came on and brought some energy. He's in front of the net on the long throw. That ball that Alex actually plays him in. For Dortmund, those chances are clearly goals, and for us, it's a good effort or a good try, and we shot the film for the game, and those will be some good coaching moments for us for some of our young guys.
Jose.
Good evening. What is the biggest gain in terms of opportunity for some of these players to showcase themselves against the clearly superior team? And how do you measure the success that they had on the field, other than just goals and finishing opportunities?
Well, that's where we'll use the tape. I think you use Danny Leyva as a good example. He's playing in midfield against a top opponent, and he wasn't afraid. He wasn't. His body language was always here. Give me the ball. Some of the senior guys need to watch him and say, okay, here's a kid who's enjoying his soccer, and sometimes as we get older, we get a little cynical and, all that sort of stuff. They got to use some of these young kids as an example to help them understand that this is a really good sport, that they have really nice jobs, and, there's some enthusiasm within the game. So body language, what I could see when I was sitting on the bench, the tactical stuff from up above, I'll let the coaches do their thing, but plenty of good coaching points for all of the players.
Steven?
Ariaka went the whole 90 tonight. Was that a personnel requirement for you guys? Was that a necessity? And what role do you foresee him playing in this weekend's derby?
Well, he's fit enough that if he needs to play, he'll play. He's a young man that's got a lot of energy. The way the game unfolded, still at 2-1, I was going to bring Roman on and, close out the game. But, the way the game was going, Javi was having a very good game. I didn't want to take him out. So I just let him in there, and he was very, very good. Very good.
Joseph.
Coach, you mentioned in the build-up to the match that it'd be a good test and a good opportunity for some of the younger guys. What did you make of their performances tonight?
Good. I mean, we talked about Arriaga. I talked about Danny. Ocampo Chavez had some looks. You got to credit Campbell for his goal, of course, but, a lot of guys came on and did what they needed to do. Jordi Delem, who was the captain in the second half, again, accounted for himself fairly well. I think Alex, I've kind of moved him around a little bit, sometimes inside, sometimes outside. I think he's had an impact when he's played on the outside a little bit more. So credit to him. Dylan has come on and showed you guys what he is, a good target, back to goal striker. So plenty of positives.
Felipe, did you have one?
No.
Okay. Any follow-ups? Jackson?
Yeah, Coach, this isn't game specific. It's just something I've been wanting to ask you. And Dick Fain and Sophie don't always ask the things I want into. I was wondering, the coaching dynamic with you and Gonzalo Pineda, how do you work with him, and how do you complement each other in the things that maybe he does that you don't, and the things that you do that he doesn't do? How do you two work together really well with those guys in the locker room?
Well, I would think I think your question's a little bit unfair because, I have to include Jimmy and Tommy and Brecky into the thing. But look, the way I like to run things in the coach's room is that I expect and I demand that they give me their honest opinion. and it helps me make better decisions. I think if you look at the diversity of that staff, and Tommy, who has been my conscience, he sits on my right shoulder, he leads Sounder Blue for many, many years. He's always telling me about loyalty and trust, and the Sounders are the most important thing there is. And Jimmy has a wealth of experience as a defender, played in the EPL at the highest levels, Champions League winner. His knowledge, and both he and Gonzo are taking the UEFA coaching course now, so it's really kind of a benefit to have two younger coaches on the staff. You go to Preki, who's a MLS Coach of the Year, himself has a world of experience. And, back to your original question, Gonzo, I think with all of those guys, I don't try and micromanage them. I get their opinion, I make decisions, we get a plan together, and then they execute the plan. I can't, there's no way a head coach these days can do everything. Although Lucian, the other day at Seattle U, he was actually putting down cones. So I'm going to put down some cones on Friday myself, just to make myself feel better. But I think I have the best staff in the league, and I'm very thankful that I have that. But they're all, super talented individuals.
Jose?
Brian, how much pride do you take in knowing that you had a very tough game on Sunday and prepared your team well enough to come at it and really give it their all and perform well enough to where they could have come out with a result, and then now getting ready for Sunday?
That's inherent in this club. I think ever since I've taken over, ever since I've played here, ever since I've coached with the USL team, the winning culture of this club has always been there. Alan, Jimmy Gabriel, some of the guys started it. There's many traditions that started back in the 70s and 80s. I think that's always kind of gone through all of the decades. I look back on some of the leaner years and the personal pride that some of us local guys put into this club has hopefully, planted some seeds of being proud of being a Seattle Sounder and proud of competing and proud of winning games. I think that's important. You get a lot of that when, Zig came, he was a winner. I mean, he helped start us off on the right foot, and I think that tradition just continues. None of those guys in there were afraid. They wanted to go out and compete and measure themselves against a very good Bundesliga team. And that type of culture is what we try and drive every day at training, making them competitive, doing some of the little things that we do, just talking to players. But I am very proud of this club for sure.
So, Coach, speaking of youth soccer, Alan, in Borussia Dortmund policy was there for now is Gio Reyna. What do you think about his performance tonight? Even though he's from the other team, but he'll be in the national team for sure.
Well, how do you know that? Maybe Danny Leva is going to be in the national team.
Maybe.
We have our own 16-year-old.
Sure.
They're all in the national team youth setup, to be fair.
Well, in the youth, yes. If it's youth soccer, yes. I thought you meant moving on to the big team.
No, you're soccer.
Yeah. So he's obviously a very talented player, very talented kid. Tonight, I thought he put himself into good spots. I think the way they play, Dortmund, the way they set up, I think there's a good tactical arrangement there. They kind of know where their positions need to be on the field, so he fits real seamlessly into the group. We'll be certainly keeping our eye on stories like that as fans of U.S. soccer, and obviously our development program is very vital to us. So we want to make sure that we can get tips or figure out ways how we can do a better job. So we'll be watching.
Joe?
Coach, what are your thoughts on the opening ceremony with Beam starting in goal and kind of connections to the community?
I don't think that the film does it justice. What I saw when he was training with Tommy Dutra and Steph was one of the greatest things I'd ever seen. That kid had a really good time that day, and those guys did a good job. Steph and Tommy and Brian, it was something special.